All right. We'll start in about 2 minutes. Make sure everything's set up. So very soon. All right, looks like we're good to go. Looks like we are good to go. All right, welcome to another game show, another live game show where I host and keep score while you, the players, play by commenting. It's first day back in a few days after being out of town, but here we go. We're going to go ahead and start with Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess what I am making will get a point on the scoreboard. Go ahead and stop the music for now. Hey, Johnny, welcome. Welcome, Johnny. Welcome back. Starting off with Guess That Balloon, only 2 guesses per player. Good to have you back, Johnny. Hope you're doing good. It is not a giraffe. Careful on the next guess. Hey, Javier, welcome. Welcome. Starting off with Guess That Balloon. First person to correctly guess what I'm making. In 2 guesses, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. It is not a heart. I'll grab another balloon. All right, Johnny, that was your second guess. It is not a bee. It is not a bee. Johnny, 2 guesses per player per balloon. Just to give any new players a chance. First person to correctly tell me what it is. A flower would be correct. That is a point for Javier. That is a point for Javier. Javier, welcome to the scoreboard. And of course, Javier, since you're a returning champion, you will enter the scoreboard as red. Whoever gets the most points by the end of the show, who's not already on in the Hall of Champions, will enter the Hall of Champions. You only need 1 point on the show to enter the Hall of Fame, which we currently have over 130 people in the Hall of Fame. What's up, Corbin? We're doing a game night, live game show. I host and keep score. First person to correctly guess what I'm making within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to correctly guess what I'm making will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to correctly guess this is one of the easiest things to make. Sword would be correct. That is a point for Javier. Javier, you're at 2 points. Javier, you are at 2 points. Just move the scoreboard just a little bit. There we go. All right, continuing on to another round. And then we're going to do a few more rounds of Guess That Balloon, and then we'll be moving on. First person to correctly guess what I'm making will get a point on the scoreboard. 2 guesses per person per balloon. Not a giraffe. Not a duck. First person to correctly guess what I am making. Within 2 guesses, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. Swan is correct. It is a swan. That is another point for Javier. Javier, you are at 3 points. Alright, we're going to do another round. And we've got plenty of games to play. We've got about 4 or 5 games we'll be playing today on stream. 4 or 5 games. We're going to play one more round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess what I am making will get a point on the scoreboard, and then we're going to move on to Blurt, which is a fan favorite. It is not a heart. First person to correctly guess what it is. A little bit of a hint. Not a sword, ray gun, or gun is correct. That is a point for Javier. You are at 4 points. Alright, we're going to move on to Blurt. Blurt is a fan favorite. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: a sea animal that has a soft body with 8 parts that look like arms. The second definition: a contest of speed, as in running, riding, or swimming. These are dictionary definitions. Hey, Trash Kitty, welcome back. Octopus is correct. That's a point for Javier. My hair. What hair? It is not a triathlon. Second definition repeated. A contest of speed, as in running, riding, or swimming. Whoever subbed, this fireworks for you. Yeah, Trash Kitty, I shave it off then. It's like 90-something degrees for the next week here. I will repeat the second definition. A contest of speed, as in running, riding, or swimming. This is the dictionary definition. Race would be correct. Race would be correct. First person on my screen who said race would be Johnny Biz. Let me add you to the scoreboard real quick, Johnny. Johnny, welcome to the scoreboard. You're currently in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions, since the only other person on here is Javier, who's already in the Hall of Champions. Hey, thanks, Trash Kitty. Johnny Biz, you have 1 point. Javier, you have 5 points. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: a geometric figure with 8 sides and 8 angles. The second definition: an animal with a long, narrow body and a long tail, noted for its ability to kill poisonous snakes. Octagon would be correct. That is another point for Javier's octagon. Javier, you're at 6 points. I will repeat the second definition. I know the animals can be a little tricky. This is the dictionary definition. An animal with a long, narrow body and a long tail, noted for its ability to kill poisonous snakes. This one can be a little tricky. I will read the definition one more time. And I'm going to put 10 seconds on the clock. You guys have a few more seconds than normal because my stopwatch is not where it should be. Give me 1 second. We're currently having a technical difficulty. Keep guessing. Might as well take those extra guesses while you can. There we go. There it is. Sorry about that. First show back in a few days. Did anyone get it yet? Nope. I'm going to read it one more time, and then I'm going to put 10 seconds on the clock. This is the dictionary definition. Hey, Fireworks, welcome. Well, since your name's Fireworks. All right. First person to tell me its dictionary definition will get a point on the scoreboard. An animal with a long, narrow body and a long tail, noted for its ability to kill poisonous snakes. 10 seconds on the clock. I don't see it, and then we're going to move on. Fireworks, welcome to the live game show where I host and keep score while you guys play by commenting. The answer was mongoose. Mongoose. An animal with a long, narrow body and a long tail, noted for its ability to kill poisonous snakes. That was a mongoose. So, we're going to continue on to another round of Blurt. And Fireworks, since you're new here, we do play multiple games throughout this 2-hour stream. Continuing on to another round of Blurt. Blurt is where I give the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. You're allowed as many guesses as you want, 1 guess per comment. The first definition: the great mass of salt water that covers almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface. The second definition: the last part of a lunch or dinner. Desert is correct for the second one. I'll repeat the first one. The great mass ocean is correct for the first one. The great mass of salt water that covers almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface was ocean. And the last part of a lunch or dinner is dessert. Who's the first person to say dessert? On my screen was also the first person to say ocean. Javier, that is 2 points for you. Also, for anybody new here, if you ever earn 1 point on this game show, you get entered into the Hall of Fame, or once you enter, you never leave. We have over 130 names on there. Whoever gets the most points in one stream who's not already in the Hall of Champions will enter the Hall of Champions. 1 person enters every stream. We have about 30 people. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either of these definitions will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: a bird related to the pigeon, having a plump body, short legs, and a cooing voice. The second definition: a man who lives in a monastery and observes the rules of a religious order. Dove would be correct. That is a point for Javier. Monk would be correct. That is another point for Javier. You are at 10 points. Johnny, you're currently in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions with 1 point, since Javier is already in the Hall of Champions, and we pick whoever has the most points by the end of the 2-hour stream who's not already in there. And we do use my screen as a tiebreaker. I can pull it up anytime to show you guys. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me what these... the first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. These are the dictionary definitions. The first definition: something built across a river, railroad track, or road so that people or vehicles can cross from one side to the other. The second definition: a head first plunge into water. Dive would be correct. And bridge would be correct. All right. Fireworks, welcome to the scoreboard. You're getting the point for dive. And I'm going to go and give you... And also, Johnny, you're getting the point for bridge. You're at 2. Fireworks, you're at 1. And Fireworks, it looks like this is the first time you've earned a point on this show, which means congratulations. I'll be adding your name to the Hall of Fame, where once you enter, you never leave. I think you're the 136th person to enter. So, congratulations. Actually, I'll tell you right now, you are the 137th person to enter the Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Now, you are competing with Johnny to enter the Hall of Champions, where 1 person enters every single stream with about 30 people. Moving on to another round of Blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. You're allowed 1 guess per comment, as many comments as you like. The first definition: A hinged metal lid over an automobile engine. The second definition, a pin that is worn as an ornament and fastens with a clasp. Hood would be correct. That is a point for Johnny. Johnny, you're at 3 points. Oh, this one might be tricky. It is not a clip. A pin that is worn as an ornament and fastens with a clasp. Hey, James M., welcome back. We're on the second definition of this card of blurt. A pin that is worn as an ornament and fastens with a clasp. This is the dictionary definition for a word. First person to tell me this word will get a point on the scoreboard. I'll give you guys a few more seconds, then I'm going to put some time on the clock. It's not appended. I think this goes in hair. I'm going to Google it real quick. I think. Maybe not. Alright, I'm going to read it one more time and then put 10 seconds on the clock. A pin that is worn as an ornament and fastens with a clasp. Hey, Trinity, welcome back. We're playing Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition of a word. The first person to tell me what a pin that is worn as an ornament and fastens with a clasp is. Don't worry, fireworks, we're going to be moving on to the next one soon. You can't know them all, and nobody knows them all. That's the fun of the game. When we play multiple games. Doesn't look like anyone has it. So I'm going to say done, and we're going to move on. It's called a brooch, or a brooch, B-R-O-O-C-H. I've never seen that before, so I don't know how to pronounce it. My apologies on that. Hey, James M. and Trinity, welcome, welcome. We're going to do 2 more rounds of blurt, and then we're going to switch up the games. We're going to do 2 more rounds of blurt, and we're going to switch up the game. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a long, pointed tooth, usually one of a pair, that extends outside the mouth of certain animals. The second definition, one of the light growths that form the covering of the skin of birds. It is not a fang. It is not a tongue. A long, pointed tooth, usually one of a pair, that extends outside the mouth of certain animals. The second definition repeated. One of the light growths that form the covering of the skin of birds. Tusk would be correct. It is a tusk. That is a point for Javier. You're at 11. The second definition repeated. One of the light growths that form the covering of the skin of birds. This is a really weird definition. Feather would be correct. That is another point for Javier. Javier, you are at 12 points. Johnny, you're currently in the lead with 3 points during the Hall of Champions, followed by Fireworks at 1 point. We're going to do 1 more round of blurt. We're going to do 1 more round of blurt, and then we're going to move on to another game. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, soft drink containing carbonated water, flavoring, and sometimes ice cream. The second definition, goodwill or kindness towards others. Don't worry, Fireworks, you are not competing with Javier. I mean, in a sense you are, but... Ooh, soda would be correct. That is count rhythm. It is not kindness, goodwill, or kindness towards others. This is the dictionary definition. Alright. It looks like court rhythm got the point for soda. That's okay. We do this round of blurt. There's 2 dictionary definitions. You get the point for soda. We're on to the second one. Goodwill or kindness towards others. And it looks like count rhythm. I don't have my glasses on. Count rhythm. Welcome to the scoreboard. And Count Rhythm, it looks like this is their very first time earning a point on this game show, which means once the stream is over, I will be adding your name to the Hall of Fame, where once you enter, you never leave. You are the 138th person to earn a point on this live game show, where I host and keep score. You play by commenting. Charity would be correct. Charity. We do go off of my screen. I'm going to go back a little bit. Who was the first person to say charity? That would be Count Rhythm. Count Rhythm, that is another for you. That is another point for you. We're going to move on to another game. These streams are 2 hours long. We're 20 minutes into the first one. We take a 5-minute break in between. I'll be doing 3 game nights tonight, which means 3 people enter the Hall of Champions. Whoever has the most points, who's not already in the Hall of Champions, will enter the Hall of Champions. If your name's red, you're already in there. If it's purple, you're competing to enter. Currently, we have Javier, a former champion, with 12 points, going for the high score of 82. It's previously set by him. We have Johnny Biz at 3, Fireworks 1, and Count Rhythm, you're at 2, catching up to Johnny Biz. We're going to move on to games. We have multiple games we cycle out throughout the 2-hour stream. We are going to play Tribond. Tribond is where I give you guys 3 things, and the first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common, and it's on this card, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. All right. The first person to tell me what sorry, I don't do anything U.S. specific. Hey, no problem, Fireworks. I hope to see you back another. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have diving, ironing, and chalk. The first person to tell me what diving, ironing, and chalk have in common, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. It's typically looking for one word. Not always one word, but typically one word. It is not swimming. The first person to tell me what diving, ironing, and chalk have in common. Sometimes the first round, for new players, it makes more sense once you see the answer for the first or second round, and then you'll understand this one. Board is correct. They are types of boards. That is correct. Hannah B, welcome, welcome. We've had quite a few Hannahs in here. Welcome, Hannah B. You're the one who gets that point. We have another Hannah B in on the Hall of Fame. However, I'm not sure if that's you or not. Either way, welcome to the scoreboard. I got to give you your point. Hannah B. And it looks like, Hannah, you either changed your username and took out the rest of your last name, or you are a new Hannah B. Either way, if you're the new Hannah B, welcome to the welcome to the Hall of Fame, where when you earn 1 point on this game show, your name enters the Hall of Fame and you never leave. Oh, you did? Awesome, awesome. Well, you're already in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to go ahead real quick to respect your privacy. I am actually going to update it in the Hall of Fame, just so I don't accidentally say it out loud. Just to respect your privacy. That's already updated. Perfect. Same Hannah B. Awesome. Well, welcome back. You're now competing into the Hall of Champions. We're going to continue on to another round of Tribond. Tribond is where I give you guys 3 things, and the first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to tell me what Swanee, Arkansas, and Nile have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Ah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming back and enjoying another game show. Rivers, correct. They are types of, they are just rivers. There's another point for Hannah B. You're at 2 points. All right, moving on to another round of Tribond. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Porterhouse, London Broil, Salisbury. First person to tell me what Porterhouse, London Broil, and Salisbury has in common. Steak would be correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. Uh-oh, Count Rhythm, you're tied with Johnny Biz. You both have 3, followed by Hannah B with 2, Fireworks 1. Competing to enter the Hall of Champions. Used to be a butcher. Perfect. There's many, many professions that can come in handy on different ones of these games. On to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to tell me what Arthur, Kong, and Tut have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. I did shave my head. Yes, I did. I think I did it last night. Yep, it gets pretty hot here. King would be correct. Oh, that was a close one. Count Rhythm got it. That was so close. And it came on my screen right after. I can always pull up my screen to verify as well. We do use my screen as a tiebreaker. All right, Count, you do get the point. You're at 4, and it looks like you just overtook the lead for entering the Hall of Champions. However, that is not determined until the end of this 2-hour stream. We are... Oops, give me 1 second. We are 26 minutes into it. The winner was announced between 1 hour and 55 minutes and 2 hours in. Hey, Jaden, welcome. It has been really hot out. Welcome. This is a live game show where I host and keep score. You play by commenting. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to tell me what Bell, Cayenne, and Jalapeno have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. You got as many guesses as you want. 1 guess per comment. Hey, Be Stronger Than Excuses. Welcome back. Good to see you back. All right. Count Rhythm. You just got the point. You're at 5 points. You're currently in the lead for entering. It's a good guess. For Tribon, it's usually a 1-word answer. Not always, but usually. But I only accept it if it's on here, because whether you're correct or not, we do want to go on here. All right, and I try not to do U.S. specific questions. Evan Lane, welcome back. I try not to do U.S. specific questions because most of my audience is not in the U.S. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have blueberry, pumpkin, coconut cream. First person to tell me what blueberry, pumpkin, and coconut cream have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Pie would be correct. That's a point for Javier. You're at 13 points. Count Rhythm, that was a close second. Keep playing, Jaden. Keep playing. You'll get them. Also, if you ever earn a point on this game show, your name is entered into the Hall of Fame, where once you enter, you never leave. We currently have about 138 people in there. Moving on to another round of Tribon, where the first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard, and then we'll switch up the game soon. First person to tell me what Puma, Catamount, and Panther have in common. Some people take some time to get used to the games. We also play multiple games throughout the stream. I have 3 game shows I'm going to be doing tonight. They are cat variants. That would be it. Cats or mountain lions would have been accepted. Hey, see, Jaden, you just got your first point. Welcome to the scoreboard. I do have to make sure I write your name correctly, especially the first time from my records. Give me 1 second. And Jaden, it does look like this is your very first time earning a point on this game show, which means congratulations. You are entered into the Hall of Fame. I will be updating it after the show. Once you get entered, you never leave. I think you're the 139th or 140th person to get a point on this game show. Congratulations. I try to stream 6 days a week, multiple times a day. Today I'll be doing 3. I usually don't do more than, I do around 2 a day, but today it's going to be 3 because I was gone for the weekend. So, good job, congratulations, and welcome. You're now competing with Hannah B, Count Rhythm, Fireworks, and Johnny Biz for entering the Hall of Champions. Whoever gets the most points in 1 2-hour stream will enter the Hall of Champions if they're not already on there. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have a racehorse, a train, Carl Lewis. Whoever just subbed, this firework is for you. They run on a track was the answer. Whoever just subbed, this firework is for you. They run on a track. No problem, Hannah. I would have given it to track, but also they run is technically on here, so I'm lenient with some of the answers, but what you said is on here, so I will give it to you, Jaden. You're at 2. Although if you would have said track first, I would have given it to him, but on my screen you said they run first. So you could ride them. You could, but the answer does have to be on here, and it says they run on a track, so I would have given it to either one of those, whoever happened to say it first, which was Jaden. So moving on to another game. We're going to switch up the games a little bit, guys. We're going to switch up the games a little bit. We are going to play. Actually, a lot of new people here. This one's always kind of a fun one. A lot of people like this. Need more views. Thank you, Jaden. I appreciate that. It's fun, though, whether we have a lot or a little. We are going to play Guess That Balloon. I appreciate that. We're going to play Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess what I'm making will get a point on the scoreboard. Here's the catch. You're only allowed 2 guesses per balloon. So be careful. 2 guesses per balloon. Johnny, please remember, you're only allowed 2 guesses per balloon, and I only read your first 2 guesses. Thank you, guys. First person to correctly guess what I'm making will get a point on the scoreboard. You text faster than type. Nice. All right, here it is. Let me go ahead and draw those spikes. Oh, it's hard with one hand. Did I say spikes? I meant stripes. This thing will sting you. It sucks. It is a B. It is a B. First person on my screen who said B would be Evan Lane. Hey, Evan, good to see you came back. Welcome back. Gotta go ahead and add Evan to the scoreboard real quick. Welcome to the scoreboard, Evan Lane. And I do remember you, Evan, so you should already be on the Hall of Fame. Although I do believe you discovered this channel right before I went on vacation, and I don't want to miss anyone. Yep, you were number 133 on the Hall of Fame. Otherwise, I would have given you your good music. Autocorrect can be convenient. We're going to move on to another round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess. Wait, oh, hold on. Johnny Biz, you said I said B, I swear. All right. Johnny, I will show you guys my screen. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pop it out real quick. We do have to have some way to break ties, and so we have to use my screen to break ties, and since I host, I actually get the messages first. It's very possible on your guys' screens that it'll show all of you sent it first if you guys sent it around the same time, but we need some way to break ties, and I like to be fair, so we use my screen. Here it is. Here is my screen. This is where Evan Lane said B first, then Jaden. He said 8. It's close enough to B, but typos are fine. Johnny said B, and if you guys can see, this is where we just started. So, the point went to Evan, and it stays to Evan, and that's final. I do like to be as fair as possible, and I do make mistakes, so it's always good to check. It's always good to check, because I do make them, so. Perfect, we're going to continue on, though. There's no need to be sorry. If you guys have been here long enough, I make mistakes. It happens, that's why I don't mind checking, so. And we're going to move on to another round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess this balloon within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. This balloon's bad. I'm going to have to get another one. Or we have to stretch them so they don't pop. Yes, fair, fun, and friendly. We try to keep this environment fair, fun, and friendly. Just so that way it's welcoming for all ages and everybody, and just everybody's welcome to be here. Like nobody to be left. And as long as you're here and you're being respectful of other players and you're in a good mood, you don't have to be in a good mood. You can just be here as long as you're respectful to other players. You get to stay. Just be nice. Just be fun. Or I mean friendly. This is not a worm. This is not a sword. 2 guesses per balloon. Oh my. Sorry, sometimes it's a little tricky to do it where you guys can see it. First person to correctly guess what I made. We have Bear is correct. Bear is correct. Let me go ahead and go back and see. First person on the screen to say Bear was Count Rhythm, but was it within your first 2 guesses? It looks like it was. Perfect. So, Count Rhythm, that is a point for you. Oops. Where are you on here? There we go. You're at 6 points currently in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions. Man of many talents. Thank you. I really enjoy doing balloon art. It's very fun. We're going to do one more round of Guess That Balloon. We're going to do one more round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess what I am making will get a point on the scoreboard. Sorry, those snaps feel like if somebody would take a rubber band and just get you. It's exactly what it feels like. It hits the tip of your finger, and it's not very pleasant. There's my pump. Moving on to the round, you guys. First person to guess within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. Within 2 guesses. What are we going to make? There we go. Oh. Pop that. We're going to try that again. Plan. Guess that balloon. First person to correctly guess what I'm making within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. Not a giraffe. I am making the same exact thing, though. Who can guess it? Barks and it chews up your stuff. Dog would be correct. Dog would be correct. First person on my screen who said dog would be Count Rhythm. A close second was Jaden on my screen. Count Rhythm, you are at 7 points. You're at 7 points. With about... They do be shooting stuff, yeah. With about 18 minutes or so until we go on the halftime break. I take a 5-minute break in between. These streams are 2 hours long. They're 2 hours long. All right, we're going to play Blurt. We're going to move on to Blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: a plant that has thick stems covered with spines. The second definition: a strip of cloth used to bind or cover a wound. Hey, Nick. Welcome to the game show. Bandage would be correct. The first definition repeated: a plant that has thick stems covered with spines. That's an interesting definition. I'll repeat the definition: a plant that has thick stems covered with spines. And who the first person to say bandage on my screen was Count Rhythm. Cactus is correct. Cactus is correct. So the point for bandage goes to Count Rhythm. You're at 8. First person on my screen who said cactus would be Hannah B. Hannah B. You're at 3. Moving on to another round of Blurt. This is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: a formal school dance. The second definition: a substance, especially a medicine, that acts against the harmful effects of a poison. Prom would be correct. That is a point for Hannah. That is 4 points for you. Antidote would be correct. That is a point for Count. Jaden, you were a close second, followed by Hannah as a close third. You are at 9, currently in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions. However, that is not determined until the end. It can always be overtaken. I will give you guys a hint for a blurt. These are the dictionary definitions of these words. So if I say a word in the definition, you know it's not that word, because the general rule of thumb is you cannot use the word you're describing to describe the word. And this is the Webster's Dictionary definition. And yes, the definitions do change over the years, and I don't quite know when this game was made. But anyway, moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: a U-shaped piece of iron fitted and nailed to a horse's hoof. The second definition: a place where grapes are grown. Horseshoe would be correct. That is a point for Count. That is a point for Count. Hannah was a close second. Where are you, Count? Right there. You were at 10 points. This is the second one. Oh, Vineyard. I see it. I'm going to make sure you said it first. Javier, you did. Okay. Well, that's a point for Javier. You are at 14. Yes. All right, moving on to another round of Blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: to look with the eyes half closed. The second definition: a sharp metal piece worn on the heel of a boot. Squint would be correct. That is a point for Hannah. Hannah, you're at 5. Spur would be correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. You are at 11. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. You are allowed 1 guess per comment, as many comments as you would like. Excuse me. The first definition: an instrument for writing with ink. The second definition: a large natural stream of water. Pen would be correct. That is a point for Javier. Javier, you are at 15 points. River would be correct. That is a point for Hannah. Hannah, you are at 6 points. Jaden, Waterfall was a good guess. That was a good guess. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition gets a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: the highest official of a city or town. The second definition: to say suddenly and without thinking. Mayor is correct, and Blurt is correct, which is the name of the game. Wow. That's funny. I didn't know it was an actual word. Alright, both points go to Count Rhythm. I love this. I get to learn so much, even though I'm not playing. I just get to host, and sometimes, how about that? Yeah. So I love hosting this. I learn so much. Really fun being on my end. I know a lot of people have fun being on your guys' end, but being on my end, it's really fun too. Especially seeing answers that are really close as well, or some that are really not even close, is also really fun for me. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: a score of 6 points in football made by moving the ball across the other team's goal line. This is American football, just to clarify. The second definition: the bottom surface of the foot or of a shoe. Touchdown would be correct. That is a point for Javier, with Count Rhythm a close second. Soul would be correct. That is a point for count rhythm. Johnny, you're thinking baseball. Oh, I did not give count rhythm as point or hard. You're at 14. You're at 14. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition. A tool with a pointed end that is used to make holes in wood, rocks, plastic, or other solid materials. The second definition. The act of wishing or thinking about pleasant things that one would like to happen. Daydreaming is correct for the second one. I'll repeat the first one. A tool with a pointed end that is used to make holes in wood, rocks, plastic, or other solid materials. Daydreaming would be correct. Drill would be correct. Drill would be correct for the first one. All right. I got to go back because there's a lot of answers. So the first person who said daydream or drill. Daydreaming is close enough. We're lenient. So that would be a point for count rhythm. It's pretty much the same thing, but there's just one game we're very strict on. Different games have different levels of leniencies. This one's a pretty strict one, but like, for example, if the word is dad, but you say father, doesn't count. However, the word's daydream and you said daydreaming, that's close enough. That's close enough. All right, first person to say drill would be Jaden. Give me 1 second. I made your points too close. Hard for me to keep track of. Yeah, different games have different levels of leniencies. So, moving on. We've got about 8 minutes till we go on the halftime break. We're going to do a couple more rounds of Blurt, and then we're going to switch up the game a little bit. You're on YouTube. Awesome. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition. A small animal with black face markings that look like a mask, grayish-brown fur, and a bushy tail with black rings. The second definition. 12 o'clock at night. It is not a panda. Raccoon would be correct. That is point 4. Hannah B. Midnight would be correct. That is point 4. Another point 4. Hannah B. You are at 8 points. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, the single hard seed of some fruits. The second definition, to make shorter by leaving out letters. Hit would be correct. That is point 4, count rhythm. Yeah, abbreviate is correct. That is a point 4. Hannah B. Forgot the word. It's okay. It happens at the tip of your tongue. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I said we were going to switch it up. Did I do both sides? I did. All right. We're going to play Tribon. Tribon's a fun one. This is where I give you guys 3 things. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to tell me what Mustang, Pinto, and Foal have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. They are terms for horses. That is a point for Count Rhythm. Johnny, I can maybe check out your channel later. I cannot check it out right now, though. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have toilets, eyes, trash cans. That was a good one. It's a fast one. Toilets, eyes, trash cans. Lids would be correct. They have lids. That is another point for Count Rhythm. Toilets. My bad. My apologies on that. If I didn't pronounce it correctly. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Shoestring, curly Q, crinkle cut. I would not get this one right. Johnny Biz, like I said, I can check it out later. I cannot right now, because I am in the middle of the game. Fries would be correct. French fries. That is a point for Hannah V. Moving on to another round of Tribon. First person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Jerry, Heidi, Mickey. Jerry, Mighty, Mickey. Hey, Charlie, welcome. The hair was a jump scare scrolling. Ha Mouse is correct. Thanks, Charlie. I guess the lack of hair would be, oh, that's funny. First person on my screen who said mouse would be Count Rhythm. I do buzz my head often throughout life. I do. I probably buzz it multiple times a year. That's funny. All right. And welcome, Charlie. Welcome. Moving on to another round of Tribon, where I give you guys three things. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have Tupik, TP, Wigwam, Tupik, TP, Wigwam. I'm going to be surprised if anyone gets this right. Tent would be correct. They are types of tents. I usually had a hat on. Yeah, I didn't have much hair. I usually just had a hat on over it. So yeah, but the hat looks really goofy when you have a buzzed head. Very goofy. So I don't wear my hat for a little bit. Let it grow out. Who's the first person to say tent? That would be Javier with 17 points. Hey, Jaden, thank you so much for joining. I got 2 more streams tonight, and I hope we'll be doing this almost every day this week. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to tell me what chalice, goblet, stein have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have chalice, goblet, stein. Have a good one, Jaden. Cups would be correct. They are types of cups. That is a point for Count Rhythm. Count Rhythm. You are currently at 20 points. 20 points. All right. We're going to play one more round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on this scoreboard. Toll free, collect, person to person. Call would be correct. There are types of calls. That is point 4. Hannah, you're at 11 points. All right, we are going to take our 5-minute halftime break. That's an interesting way for that to load. So, how this works, this is the halftime break of the show. When you guys hear the sound of the gong, the 5 minutes has begun. When you hear the sound of the air horn, the 5 minutes is over. I do keep a stopwatch on me so I can be precise with the time. So it does begin right now. I'll be back in 5 minutes. We're officially halfway through the show. Hey, it's Shannon. I host the games that keep score while you play them by commentating. If you would like to support the channel and enter the Hall of Supporters, my Cash App is Shannon1742. My PayPal and Venmo are mindfuldiscovery@yahoo.com. These should be pinned in the comments. If you are interested in any of the games played on this show or the props used, I have affiliate links in the description. I earn a commission for each product bought at no extra cost to you. Another way you can show support is by purchasing my book, Beyond Solitaire, 52 Unique One-Player Games. This is a book on learning the rules for 52 solitaire-type card games with various levels of difficulties, chance, and skill. I wrote detailed instructions for new and experienced players to be able to learn these games, along with setup pictures for examples. Beyond Solitaire, 52 Unique One-Player Games is available on Amazon as a paperback book and on the Kindle store. It is also enrolled in the Kindle Unlimited program. We have a minute left in the break. Who will enter the Hall of Champions tonight? The three key principles for this game show. We want to be fair, we want to have fun, and we want to be friendly. I personally want to thank this community and everyone in the Hall of Fame for helping develop this positive game show experience. All right. We are back. I do realize the AC is a little bit loud on the camera. Did just check to see how that was doing. I do apologize. It's 90 degrees. Usually I do try to keep it off and just cool up my room a bit before. Cool up the studio. All right, we're going to get right back to it soon. Well, let's give people a chance to come back. You know, it's because yours sounds funny. Hola, soy Doro. Dora, oh. Hola, soy Shannon. Moving on. We're going to get back to it. We always like to start the breaks off easy with a few rounds of Guess That Balloon. Remember, that's right, it's showtime. The champion will be announced in a little less than 55 minutes. We're going to move on to Guess That Balloon. The rules are simple. 1 guess per comment, 2 guesses per player per balloon. 2 guesses per player per balloon. This gives new players a chance to compete against the old players. The first person to correctly guess what I'm making will get a point on the scoreboard. Sorry about that. We're going to start that over. Hey, Johnny Biz, yo. Johnny, that's your first of your first of 2 guesses. 2 guesses per players. Per balloon. I'm only accepting your first 2 guesses. Just popped off. Oh my god. Guys, the head. Can I rectify this? I think I can actually. I still think I can fix it. Barely. I can barely fix it. It is a butterfly. It is correct. The head should have been quite bigger. But it popped and somehow I was able to fix it. Butterfly would be correct. The first person on my screen who said butterfly would be Jaden. Jaden, there's a point for you. I'm going to just go ahead and double check. Perfect. Jaden, you are at 4 points. A couple more rounds. We're going to play Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess what I am making will get a point on the scoreboard. cat on a giraffe. Those are your 2 guesses. First person to correctly guess what I have made will get a point on the scoreboard. It is a sword. Jaden, that's a point for you. Jaden, sometimes competition can be fast. So I will give you a hint. You could just type sword, and I will give it to you. I will give it to you. He is out here doing good. You could be even a little faster. If you just say sword, I'll give you that tip, because sometimes we can have 10, 15 players in here, and sometimes those answers get rolling fast. So, since you're new, I wanted to give you go ahead and give you that tip. All right. We are going to play one more round. One more round of Guess That Balloon. One more round of Guess That Balloons. Perfect. Is it a thank you? It's funny. Didn't even catch that when I read it. That's funny. One more round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess what I'm making will get a point on the scoreboard. I'm a pump cut. There we go. Not an ant. Oh my god, this is supposed to be a lot smaller. Squinch the body a little bit. His tail is perfect though. Not a dog. This should be a lot smaller. Should have probably done half a pump less. Squeaky, it eats cheeses. Or cheeses. It eats cheese. A lot of people don't like these in their house. Mouse would be correct. That is a .4. That is a point. I'm going to give a point to Count Rhythm. You did say sword earlier, but that was right when I started the round, and I believe you're just joking with the last round, so I'm going to give you the point on that one. Sometimes it can be hard to know, but I'm going to put a period. I put a period in there for me to know when the round starts and ends. Count Rhythm, that's a point for you. Well, I usually only do that for balloon art. Alright, moving on. We're going to play Alert. Oh, actually, we're going to play Password. I think a few of you have not seen Password. Password is the only game we play with the strict rule of no typos. I typically allow typos if you're close enough. We won't play too many, don't worry, Johnny. I typically allow typos if you're close enough with every game except for Password. Since it's called Password, I think it's fun to keep it strict. So, what Password is you guys have to guess my one-word password based off of the clues and the hints that I give, letter for letter. So if it's a singular and you put a plural and you add an S, it is not correct. What's this? This is called Password. This is where I give you guys clues and hints to my one-word password. My password is only one word long every single time. You are not allowed to have typos. Alright. This is what it's called. Or this is what a woman is called when her husband dies. She is referred to as a blank. I think there's also a widow would be correct. Capitalization does not matter, just so you know. Capitalization does not matter. No typos. Count Rhythm. Hannah, that was a close second. Count Rhythm got widow. You're at 22 points. Count. Moving on to another round of Password. The first person to guess my one-word password without any typos, capitalization does not matter, get a point on the scoreboard. You have to guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give. This is what you call a mythical creature that transforms at a full moon. Typically, you'll see them in a lot of movies and shows and books with vampires in them. This is typically their enemy, I believe. Werewolf is correct, but as a point for Count Rhythm. Enemy again as a close second. You're at 23 points, and I do have 2 more shows tonight. They are typically, the next one will start an hour after this one ends. Johnny, I'll give you a hint. These are one-word passwords, so there will not be spaces. So if you had this space and you were first out. Jaden, sometimes, just so you know real quick, sometimes some people's internet are slow. So sometimes some people's internet is slow. And that's also part of the reason I like to do multiple game shows, because I've had some people, their internet was so slow that they'll just come back another stream, it can be faster. Also, a lot of people say it's faster on your computer. I personally also think if you're at home and if you're on mobile data on your phone, switch to the Wi-Fi, that can tend to be faster as well. So, mine's terrible. Yeah, you're still doing good. You just got about 5 points. Alright, we're going to move on to another round of password. This is where you guys have to guess my one-word password without typos based off of the clues and the hints that I give. The moon affects this. Smaller waves are called this. The moon affects how much this hits on the beach. This changes throughout the day as well. Tide is correct. I actually don't know if smaller waves are called tide now that I think about it. Count Rhythm, that is a point for you. Where are you? There we go. You're at 24 points. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. When a baby is born at a hospital, the nurses will usually clean it up and take it to this room filled with other babies. Sometimes they even mix them up, and that's never good when they do that. Nursery is correct. Oh, you said infirmary. I thought you said incinerary, and I'm like, I don't think they do that. I read that wrong. I really need to get glasses. Wow. Nursery is correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. Just gonna double check. All right. Yeah. Oops. Count Rhythm. You're at 25. That would be rough and probably very illegal. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. If you're traveling, especially on vacation, have a good one, Jaden. I'll be back twice more tonight. If you're traveling, especially on vacation, you may rent a room here. These are typically very expensive to rent a room here compared to hotel would be correct. What is the point for Count Rhythm? Oh, hey, Mustang Mike, welcome back. I forget that I'm trying to build this habit of reading the scores after the break. I'm a little late, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Javier, who's the only former champion here, has 17 points. Everybody else is competing into the Hall of Champions. Johnny Biz has 3. Fireworks 1. Count Rhythm 26. Hannah B 11. Jaden 5. Evan Lane 1. Welcome back, Mustang Mike. Moving on to another round of password. He is the GOAT. Javier has the highest score on a stream of 82 points. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. These are the little dots that blind people use to read. They're on a lot of different signs, especially like ATMs, bathroom signs. Braille is correct, but it's Brail on my screen. Give me 1 second. Why? Am I using the wrong... Am I thinking of the wrong word? Hannah B got it correct, but now I'm thinking that I used the wrong word. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that this was two different words. So, technically... I look like a bald eagle, thanks. So technically, the Braille that I used... Count rhythm is correct. The Braille that... the Braille that I used, count rhythm, is correct, but the Braille that's actually on password that Hannah B got correct is small ropes that are led from the leech of a fore and aft sail to pulleys on the mast for temporary furling it. Or furl. Okay, so these are two different types of Brailles. That is definitely... funny mistake. I'm actually going to give a point to both of you because I made a funny, weird mistake on that one. Sorry, guys. So, Count Rhythm and Hannah, you're both going to get a point because you're both correct. Sorry about that. Continuing on to another round of password. Yeah, I also would not have ever gotten that one. Continuing on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints without typos gets a point on the scoreboard. Capitalization does not matter. This is what a snowstorm is called when there's a lot of snow. Typically, there is low visibility. Blizzard is correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. You're at 28 points. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. When it's really hot and sunny out, you're going to want to sit in the blank of a tree, or really just under anything. You're going to want to find blank to get out of the sun. Shade would be correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. 29 points you're at. Moving on to another round of password. First person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. When a married couple separates, they legally have to file a blank. Hey, Michael B., welcome back. Welcome back. We're playing a round of password. Divorce is correct. That is another point for Count B. Hannah, you're a close second. Michael B., you're a close third. I'm going to double check. Yep, Count got it first on my screen. Count, you're at 30 points. Michael B., welcome back. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. It's generally rude to do this to something, or I'm sorry, to someone. Oftentimes when you're given directions, you will. But typically you learn when you're young that it's rude to at someone. Point would be correct. It's a point for count. That's a point for count rhythm. And a be a close second. I have to move that point over so I don't get confused. Moving on to another round of pass. We're going to play 2 more rounds and then we're going to carry on. Count is the new go. Not yet. Yeah, the high score is 82 points by Javier Goat God. It's beatable, but eventually when the stream it's slowly getting bigger and bigger. It's getting harder to beat. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. You use this to see. It's a ball you probably wouldn't play with, but you use it to see. One of you are close. You use this to see. Eyeball is correct. Eyeball. That's what I said. You use this to see. It's a ball you probably wouldn't play with. First person on my screen who said eyeball. Would be Javier. Can you spell it right? Yes. That is 18 points. One more round of password, and then we're going to switch it up a little bit. One more round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. That was a tricky one. Yes, Javier is back. First person to guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. This is what the top of the head is called. Also, at least in the Northern America, Indians used to blank people with a knife. Or they'd cut this part of the head off. Scalp is correct. That is a point for Javier. Also, I have said that before, referring to them as Indians, and somebody told me to say Native Americans, and I don't. I've heard them used so interchangeably in my life, I don't know which one's right or wrong. I was thought they were both right. So, correct me if I'm wrong on that. Oh, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to Blurt. Javier didn't like your comment. He's back to defend his title of high score. Moving on to a round of Blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: the time between sunset and sunrise, especially the hours of darkness. The second definition: a wooden or metal frame with tightly laced strings and a handle used in games like tennis and badminton. Racket would be correct for the second one. That's a point for count. Oh, I didn't even realize somebody said night. Javier got night. Okay, there's a point for Javier for saying night. Just want to make sure. Here at 20. And the first person to say racket would be Count Rhythm. I believe you're at 32. Oh, yeah. Mustang Mike called Count the new GOAT. It's got competition because Count is coming here getting a lot. It's not over till it's over, though. It's not over till it's over. We have about half an hour left in this game show. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: A sea voyage for pleasure, the second definition. A tool with jaws used for gripping and turning such things as nuts and bolts. Cruise would be correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. Wrench would be correct. That is a point. Another point for Count Rhythm. Javier, you were a close second. Count Rhythm, you are at 34 points with 29.5 minutes left. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: a plant having a long orange root that is eaten as a vegetable. The second definition: a case of silky strands made by a caterpillar to protect itself while it turns into a butterfly or moth. Carrot would be correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. 35. Cocoon is correct. Michael, you did say cotton. I believe you had a typo, but you're just a little bit too far off for me to accept it for cocoon, so I'm going to give the point to Count Rhythm. I am lenient with typos if it's really close. So the point for cocoon will go to Count Rhythm. Your faces, if you're referring to me, I've been told I have a lot of facial expressions. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: a small jumping insect that lives on the bodies of animals and human beings and sucks their blood. The second definition: an ancient Egyptian statue with the body of a lion and the head of a hawk, ram, or man. Flea, you would be correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. I did not know fleas suck blood. I guess that would make sense that they're always biting and bothering animals. Does anyone have it yet? Sphinx is correct. The first person to say Sphinx was Count Rhythm. Johnny, please remember the 3 key principles of this game show. We want to keep it fair, we want to keep it friendly, and we want to have fun. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: the first meal of the day. The second definition: a flying animal with a furry body and thin, leathery wings. Breakfast is correct. That is a point for Javier. Bat is correct. That is another point for Javier. Moving on to another round of Blurt. This is going to be the last round of Blurt. We're going to switch it up a little bit. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: someone who is owned by another person. The second definition: juice pressed from apples and used as a drink or to make vinegar. Slave would be correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. You're at 39 points. Cider is correct. That is another point for Count Rhythm. 40 points. We are going to move on to Tribond. Tribond is where I give you guys 3 things, and the first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. The first person to tell me what cream, butter, and yogurt have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. They are dairy products. That is another point for Count Rhythm. 41 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon, where the first person to tell me what these three things have in common will go to points on the scoreboard. Graham, soup, saltine. Crackers is correct. What is the point for Javier? Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will go to points on the scoreboard. Petunia, poppy, pansy. Flower would be correct. They are flowers. That is a point for Count. Anna, you're a close second. I have to move this point from earlier over so I don't get it confused. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Gordon Cooper, Virgil Grissom, Scott Carpenter. I usually don't do U.S.-specific things. However, I have no clue who these three people are, so I can't even guarantee that it is U.S.-specific. Gordon Cooper, Virgil Grissom, Scott Carpenter. Now that I think about it, it's probably U.S.-specific. Alright, I'm going to put 10 seconds on the clock. I'll give you a hint. Moon. Moon is a good hint. These people have been the furthest away from Earth. Hey, Connor, welcome back. These people leave the atmosphere. Astronauts would be correct. Connor, welcome back. I did shave my head. I did buzz it. First person on my screen who said astronauts would be Javier. That's another point for you. Javier, you're at 24 points. I probably should have skipped that one. Sorry. First person to tell me what these three things have in common. We'll get a points on the scoreboard. We have a general, a lieutenant, a colonel. All right, good. They are ranks in the army. That is correct. They are ranks in the army. Javier said army first. Count Rhythm said ranks. Both of those words are in here. It says ranks in the army. I will give it to Javier first. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will go to points on the scoreboard. Hey, Connor, enjoy the time with your grandmother. I have 2 more shows tonight. Oh, gotta skip that. First person to tell me what these three things have in common will go to points on the scoreboard. White, dark, milk. Wi-Fi's just not doing it today. I will be doing 2 more today and hopefully every single day this week, especially because I was gone for the weekend. Count Rhythm, chocolate is correct. That point goes to you. $43 points you're at, I think. Yep, 43. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have Silver, Trigger, Mr. Ed. Silver, Trigger, Mr. Ed. Yeah, I know the answer and I'm confused. To be honest. A pony's a small version of this. A pony is a small version of this. It's an animal. Yeah. Horse would be correct. That is a point for Hannah B. Sometimes I wonder if they verify all of these. Silver, Trigger, and Mr. Ed. None of those ring horse to me. I also don't know of all the breeds, though, so. Alright, well. Maybe famous horses. That could be true. They could be famous horses in wherever famous horses are in, like, TV shows. Moving on to another round of Tribon. For the first person to tell me what these three things have in common, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have Jack, Peter, Roger. All right, Connor, welcome back. Guys, this is very similar to the last one. Rabbits is correct. That is a point for Javier. You're at 26 points, Javier. Connor, welcome back. Moving on to another round of Tribal in the first. What was the last one? So it was Jack, Peter, and Roger. Dollar, welcome back. Nice haircut, thank you. I do it myself because it's really easy and fast, and it's like 90 degrees for the next week. So, moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have Tony the Tiger, Toucan Sam, Lucky the Leprechaun. Cereal would be correct. Cereal would be correct. They are cereal mascots. First person on my screen. I have not moved yet. Dollar. I'm not 100% when I'm 100% sure when I'm moving. It will be in the next couple weeks to the next couple months. Moving on, Hannah, you got the point for cereal. I know that's quite the range, but there's some factors I'm waiting on. Oh, Connor, sorry to hear about that. Sorry to hear about that, Connor. Well, if she stays, you should go spend time with her. I'll be back for 2 more shows tonight. It's good to get some family time in. Moving on to another round of Tribon, where I read 3 things. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common, I'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have Telly, Micro, Kaleido. Telly, Micro, Kaleido. Scope would be correct. That is a point for Hannah. Hannah, you're at 15 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common, I'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have squash, beet, eggplant. Phone. You were, Javier. You were right to the last one. Vegetables is correct. Awesome, Connor. I hope the best of luck. Be positive. Be positive around her. She's going to need it. Vegetables is correct. That is a point for Michael. It's okay to be sad, but it's helpful to be happy. Just know that. Michael B., welcome to the scoreboard and welcome back. Are you saying work harder, not... Oh, work harder, not smarter. I thought you were saying work smarter, not harder, and you just because of your typo. Of course, you guys know what typos are, okay? Michael B., welcome to the scoreboard. And I know you're already on the Hall of Fame. Dollar, let me know what you change your name to when you come back, and I'll just update it on the Hall of Fame. Just let me know. Hey, Richard Green, welcome back. Richard Green, doing great, doing great. Welcome back. We've got about 15 minutes left in this game show. We have 2 more game shows tonight. We're going to play another round of Tribond. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. You're going to be playing on the next stream. Awesome, Richard. First person to tell me what Python, Viper, and Cobra have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Good to see you back, Richard. Snakes is correct. Hey, Pocky Rahu, welcome back. Snakes is correct. That is a point for Count Rhythm. Pocky Rahu, you were a close second on my screen. Welcome back. Count Rhythm's doing very good. I believe this is his first stream. He entered the Hall of Fame, and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Currently at 44 points. Sad Man, Dollar, you can change your name to Sad Man. Interesting. I will update. I'm going to write that down. I will update that later. I'll update that on the Hall of Fame later. Moving on to another round of Tribond. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common, I'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have bamboo, barley, wheat. Hope you had a good weekend, Shannon. I'm so happy to be part of the streets. Thank you, Richard. It was a very good weekend. Got to see some family and went camping, and I'm glad you're a part of the streams. Grass is correct. That's a point for Count Rhythm. Grass or grain would have been accepted. Yes, it was a very good weekend, but I'm very glad to be back streaming with the community, having fun, hosting games. Well, you guys play them, so I'm very happy you guys are a part of it, so thank you too. Yes, Connor, I can. Count Rhythm got the point for grass. 45. Per as requested, Connor requested we do some balloons, so we're going to move on to Guess That Balloon. The rules for Guess That Balloon are you guys are allowed 2 guesses per balloon. So when I am making a balloon, you're only allowed 2 guesses until I start on the next one. First person to correctly guess what I'm making will get a point on the scoreboard. Thank you, Richard. It can be nice. It can be. Moving on to another round of first person to correctly guess what I'm making will get on the scoreboard. Oh, I almost didn't. Dog would be correct. Hey, Meg, welcome back, welcome back. Dog was correct. First person on my screen to say dog. Let me go back and find it. That would be Meg. Meg, unless you tell me otherwise, I'm going to assume you're the Meg from the other streams. People are allowed to have the same name on YouTube, which means, well, first of all, welcome to the scoreboard, and also as a returning champion, you are getting entered in as Pink. Although, if you have no clue what I'm talking about, please let me know this is your first time here. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure you are the former champion. Or a former champion, I should say. And welcome back, of course. Yes, I am. I thought so. Welcome back. I do always want to check so that way I can update my records accordingly, though. Moving on to another round of Tribond. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have yeast, mold, mildew. Oh, and then, Connor, I'll do a couple more balloons for you, too, since you like the balloons. Moving on to a round of Tribond, we have yeast, mold, mildew. First person to tell me what these three things have in common. I'll get a point on the scoreboard. Count rhythm, you got the point. And we're going to do a couple more balloons. Sorry, I forgot that I wanted to do some more balloons before going back. We have about 10 minutes left in this game show. I'll be doing 2 more game shows tonight. First person to tell me what balloon I've made within 2 guesses, I'm going to point on the scoreboard. Yeah, ouch is right. That, or it's like, it feels like a rubber band being snapped and it hits the tip of the finger. Doesn't feel good, but that's okay. First person to tell me what I'm making, I'm going to point on the scoreboard. Not a sword, not a banana. Swan would be correct. First person on my screen who said Swan would be Michael B. Michael B. The second show of tonight will be 1 hour after this one ends, and I will be doing another show an hour after that one ends. We have 3 shows tonight. This is the first. Moving on to another round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess this balloon within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. Once I put a dot in the chat, we are in between balloon rounds. So if you start guessing right now, it does count towards your 2 guesses. If you put 3 or 4 guesses, I'm only counting your first 2. Dollar, I'm no longer going to be updating your name because I can't keep spending this much time on updating your name if you just keep changing it. So, Dollar, I think I'm going to keep your name as Dollar. Oops. First person to correctly guess what this is, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. Camel would be correct. Hey Jasper, welcome to the live game show where I host and keep score. You play by commenting. The first person on my screen who said Camel would be Javier. Count rhythm as a close second. Javier, you're at 27 points. Moving on to another round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess the balloon that I'm making within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. Awesome, Jasper. We're playing multiple different types of games on this 2-hour stream. We're an hour and 48 minutes in. The winner is going to be announced in 7 minutes. We're going to play one more round of Guess That Balloon, and then we're going to move on to another game. I do have 2 more streams tonight. First person to correctly guess will get a point on the scoreboard. You are only allowed 2 guesses. And here's a hit. You'll come back to the second and third stream too. Awesome, Jasper. Since you subbed, this firework is for you. Ray gun is correct. I would have also accepted gun. Is Tribon like the new Blurt? Oh, Tribon is his completely own game. All right, who's the first person on my screen to say ray gun or gun? That would be Javier. Jasper, welcome to the live game show. We also, if you ever get 1 point on this stream, you are entered into the Hall of Fame, where once you enter, you never leave. We currently have around 140 people in there. And whoever gets the most points on one stream, who's not already in the Hall of Champions, enters the Hall of Champions. Javier and Meg are already in the Hall of Champions, so everybody who, and they're pink, everybody else who's purple is competing to get into the Hall of Champions. One person enters every single stream. Currently, Count Rhythm is in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions. Moving on, we're going to play Blurt. We're going to play Blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The rules are you are allowed 1 guess per comment, as many comments as you would like. If you don't know the first word, you can guess the second. You can guess them both, but only 1 guess per comment. All right, the first definition of blurt. A sharp, curved nail on the toe of an animal or bird. The second definition. Clothing worn when playing a part or dressing up in disguise. Yes, Connor, I agree. It's pretty new. Claw would be correct, and costume would be correct. Oops, sorry, technical difficulty. All right, claw is correct and costume is correct. First person on my screen who said claw would be Javier. And the first person on my screen who said costume would be Count Rhythm. Also, Jasper, just so you know, since you're new here, we go off of my screen to break any ties. Since I'm the host, I get all the messages first, and I can always pull up my screen to verify who sent it first. So if you think I've made a mistake, please let me know, and I can pull up my screen. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a large painting on a wall or ceiling. The second definition, a young horse, especially a male. Johnny Biz, you are not new here. Mural is correct. That is a point for Meg. Colt is correct. First person on my screen who said Colt was also Meg. Meg, you're at 3 points. 3 points. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a large, hairy bee that flies with a humming sound. The second definition, a sweet, round, juicy fruit with fuzzy yellow or reddish skin in a pit with a hard shell. Bumblebee was correct. The first person on my screen to say it would be Count Rhythm. Peach would be correct. The first person to say peach would be Count Rhythm. Guys, I'm not going to flex my arms. We're playing a game. I also don't work out so that way I can get, like, jacked like Hulk or something. I work out because it's really good for my mental health. Like, if you take care of yourself physically and mentally, if you take care of yourself physically, your mental health is a lot better. So that's actually one of the main reasons I work out, and I actually recommend it to a lot of people. It's one of the quickest ways you can see improvement for your mental health is by working out. So we have about a minute left. Moving on to another round of Blurt. This is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a hat with a wide brim and ribbons that tie under the chin. The second definition, an additional performance given in response to applause. Thank you, Meg. Bonnet is correct. Thanks, Richard. That's a point for Count Rhythm. Count Rhythm has 50 points. I will reread the second one. An additional performance given in response to applause. Typically at the end of a concert, people will chant this, so they play another song. Encore would be correct. Encore. I'm going to go back and check. French for again. Thank you. All right. Who's the first person on my screen who said encore? That'd be Count Rhythm 51. All right, we are officially 1 hour and 55 minutes into this game show, which means I'm going to read the scores. They are 2-hour shows, but at 1:55 in is when I end it, or at least the points, unless I have to add time to the end, which does happen for various reasons. However, I didn't really have to this time. So I'm going to go ahead and read the scores. I'm going to go ahead and read the scores. Just so you guys know, I usually do hang out after streams. However, today I have a lot of stuff to do between streams, so I won't be. So, amongst the champions, the former champions, Javier, you have 29 points. Meg, you have 3. Amongst everybody else competing to enter the Hall of Champions, Johnny Biz has 3, Fireworks 1, Hannah B 15, Jaden 5, Evan Lane 1, Michael B 2. And now to announce, coming in first place and entering the Hall of Champions with 51 points. Welcome. Rhythm, you are the new champion, entered into the Hall of Champions. I will be updating the Hall of Fame and the Hall of Champions after this stream. Congratulations. Good luck, Connor. Good luck with your grandma. Yes, congratulations. Congratulations, Count Rhythm. You're the newest addition to the Hall of Champions. You are currently number 34. I have to make sure I spell it right. I will be doing one more stream 56 minutes from now. This was fun. I'm glad you liked it. Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. What time? It depends on what time zone you're in, but 56 minutes from now. Johnny, I can look into your channel another time. If I like your content, I'll subscribe. However, I'm very busy today because in between streams, I do have to meet with some people. Thank you, Michael B. I do appreciate that. But, John, I might have time to meet with, to look at your stuff tomorrow. I do have to meet with somebody tomorrow in the early afternoon. No, I haven't moved yet. I'll be moving. I know this is quite the range, but I'll be moving between the next 2 and 9 weeks. 2 to 9 weeks, and I'm supposed to be meeting with somebody tomorrow for probably a few hours right before I get on streaming. So, you're welcome, Johnny. Awesome, Richard. I'll see you in the next stream. And while I'm here real quick, I'm going to update the Hall of Famers. Fireworks was entered. Fireworks entering at 137. Count Rhythm. You are number 138 in the Hall of Fame. You are the 138th person to enter the Hall of Fame And you are the 34th person to win a stream. Hannah B has already been here. Jaden is also getting added. I think Jaden just popped in for a little bit, said he'd be back later. Jaden was the 139th. Evan Lane, Michael B, both already in the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame is currently at 139. If you just update it while I'm here. Alright, perfect. Personally, moving is hard. Moving can be. Awesome. I'll see you guys for the next stream in 54 minutes. 54 minutes, I will see you guys. I do have to get going now. I got some stuff I really have to tend to very soon. Thank you guys so much. I will be back in about 53 minutes. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. Yes, charge your phone, Connor. And hang out with your grandma if she's still there as well. Thank you guys so much for another fun stream. I'll be back in 50 minutes.